It has been 24 hours since two terrible train tragedies. One, a derailment in Uttar Pradesh, the other which is being called a terror strike in Assam. Several questions are being raised about whether it was a human error, a technical error. While those questions will be answered at length through probes and possibly even the politics coming into it, one of the things that has possibly made this tragedy even worse is a comment that has come from the Minister of State for Railways, Mr. Mukul Roy. Joining me on the debate tonight on a day when he is facing terrible political heat from the entire political spectrum is Mr. Saugata Roy. He is Minister of State for Urban Development and also a leader of the Trinamool Congress. Good evening, Mr. Roy. Also, former member of the Railway Board, Mr. K Vij. Suhel Sethm, Marketing Advisor of the Railway Board. Nalini Singh, well-known senior journalist, and Prakash, Nadda, National Spokesperson of the BJP. Mr. Roy, I'll begin with you. Yesterday, your minister and leader from your party, Mr. Mukul Roy, who's the man in the middle of the controversy, spoke with us here on Times. Now, soon after the incident happened in Malwan in Uttar Pradesh, we kept asking him and he kept repeating that I'll only go to the accident site if required. And that started with the preamble where he said that I'm the Minister of State, I'm not really the minister in charge, it comes under the Prime Minister's office, so on and so forth, and he went on this long explanation before he wanted to give us a reaction. What do you think the minister meant? What do you think your leader and the Minister of State for Railways meant?
No, I think the minister made clear, I don't know clear what he wanted to say. He said that he was 1,000 kilometers away from the site of the accident when the accident happened just after lunchtime. He said that he was a Minister of State. And ministers of state do not take decisions on their own. Since he was a Minister of State, if you had been instructed by the Prime Minister who is holding temporary charge of the Railways Ministry, he would go there if he was instructed by the Prime Minister. And as far as I could see from the television channels, another Minister of State in the Railway Ministry, Mr. Muniappa, visited the site of the accident. So I don't know why his very simple and straightforward comment is being made out to be a controversy.
No, but Mr. Roy, I mean, the obvious argument in the political circuit in New Delhi is that wasn't this reaction uncalled for, at least the way it was articulated. Let me get in Mr. J.P. Nadda from the Bharatiya Janata Party on this entire issue, who in fact raised this entire matter politically in New Delhi. Mr. Nadda, are you convinced with the argument that is being put forward by Mr. Mukul Roy and then eventually also by Saugata Roy?
No, not at all. First of all, I would like to say very clearly that the Railway Ministry is in a situation where there is nobody to take the responsibility. They are trying to pass the buck. First of all, it is an orphan situation, and the Prime Minister also cannot be absolved of this responsibility. I would like to say very frankly that Mukul Roy's statement shows the amount of sensitivity this UPA government has towards the people of the country. First of all, he has not gone to the site. Number two, they have all this has happened because for the past 7 years, this department is being dealt with regional aspirations. Lalu also did the same thing, and now Mamta and Mr. Mukul Roy's priority is West Bengal, not the nation. And that is why all this is happening. The statement given by Mr. Mukul Roy is condemnable, right, deplorable. And UPA, it is a manifestation of the inefficiency of UPA government.
Mr. Nadda, the charge that you're going to face is that you're politicizing the entire situation and the tragedy. We're going to come to that part later on in this debate. But Mr. Seth, you're the marketing advisor of the Railway Board. What would you say to a minister who shows, or rather Minister of State, I might add, who shows such reluctance when it comes to a tragedy? He's given us every possible excuse, from saying that I will go if required, I am too far away, I am about 1,000 kilometers. Why was all this required?
You see, this is what happens when you have people like Mukul Roy in those positions. I think the remark was insensitive. I don't think the intent was entirely dishonorable. You know, the media and all of us also have a lynch mob mentality. I mean, jokes apart, I'm glad that some of these guys don't make it to the site, because there'll be more people helping Mukul Roy than actually helping people who need all the help. You know, because these guys are used to entourages and retinue of officials. Having said that, I think there's a larger malaise. The railway ministry has been without a functioning head for a long time. When that kind of situation arises, it's very easy for people to absolve themselves of their responsibilities. And that's what I think Mukul Roy did. I mean, to ascribe a lot of intelligence to Mukul Roy would in itself be faulty. A. B. I think we need to ask a deeper question. When tragedies like this happen, how should a government come across? Forget the response of an emergency train and a gas cutter. The empathy. You know, in America, one life is lost and you have Obama on television. We don't have that principled way of reacting and engaging with citizenry,
True.
no matter what the crisis. And I think that's something that we also need to build. To only blame Mukul Roy would be unfair. Mukul Roy is symptomatic of the lack of empathy that politicians of his ilk have, but which they need to display. I mean, look at his leader. Mamata Banerjee would have been there in a shot. She would have not cared. She would have been there because she knows how to engage with people. This guy was waiting for two sets of instructions. One from Manmohan Singh, who's his minister, and the other from Mamata Banerjee, who's his boss. And that's what happened. So in this whole chaos, times now got to him before better sense did.
Marketing advisor, you would in fact give this suggestion to the railways. I hope you would. But let me get Nalini Singh in here. Nalini, the point that Seth was, in fact, Suhel Seth was making, that perhaps, at least at some level, whatever damage that has been done in the form of these remarks, at least he could have come out, issued an explanation on this issue.
Sanket, what will an explanation do? You and I know that 1.4 crore Indians, the Aam Aadmi, travels by train every day in our country. And we have always, when there's been a railway accident, we have now recently started saying it's because Mamata Banerjee sits in West Bengal and because she wanted to be a chief minister, win the elections, so she was not in Delhi. But you know, all right, neglect is one. It is so patent, I don't have to talk about it. But it's much deeper. Recently, every railway minister who has come and occupied the Rail Bhavan looks at the railway as an empire, as patrimony, as inheritance, as something personal. And I think that's what, so they try any management technique, that their officer on special duty or somebody who comes by and says, why don't you do this? This is the right thing. So what did we do with Lalu Yadav? I want today to ask you. We said he was lecturing people from Harvard and MIT and Boston, and he was going to IIM Ahmedabad, and we, all of us, including the media, said, wah wah, what a great railway minister. Now what did he say? He actually said the railways have to be run like a milk cow. The more you milk it, the more production output you will have. Now, you know, he did not worry about turnaround time. He did not worry about the wear and tear of the assets that he had. He did not worry. He said, my profits have gone up. Which management expert will tell you that when you've been in the doldrums as far as your financial health is concerned, suddenly you're top of the pops, you're an Olympian, and you've got this, you can pretend that you have made so much money. Now look what happened immediately afterwards. The stock is worn, the maintenance, and I really don't know what's happened to the human beings who are working with the railways. A lot of accidents are genuinely, later on reports have shown due to human error. Now, if you take patrimony and a willfulness that we will do with the railways, what we think we are, somebody can also take the Railway Protection Force because they feel more secure with them. What is going on? This is our property. And 1.4 crore Indians use it every day. So I think that it's not just now we say that, Mukul Roy did not go there. Of course, you know, what should I say about Mukul Roy? Mr. Saugata Roy is the professor of Mamata Banerjee, and I'm
Nalini
sure
Singh, I would like to bring Saugata Roy in at this.
To learn from this.
Right, I'd like to bring in Mr. Saugata Roy because he began by saying that my leader, Mr. Mukul Roy, has said nothing wrong. Now, several issues have been raised in this debate apart from the fact that there seems to be a mess right at the very top. Nobody knows. It's like a headless ministry at this point. Nobody knows in which direction to go. Perhaps that's why Mr. Mukul Roy kept saying he was 1,000 kilometers away. Didn't really know where to go. But coming back to the moot point here at this point, which is being talked about by the country, Mr. Saugata Roy, what do you have to say about your minister? Once again, I'm going to ask you the same question. Don't you think he needs to clarify? Don't you think he owes an explanation for the reluctance that he showed?
I don't think he owes an explanation why there was a very serious railway accident in which a large number of lives were lost. According to some news reports, it were 35 lives were lost. According to some other news reports, 43 lives were lost. Whatever it was a very horrible and tragic accident. We should actually try and find out why this happened, why the driver applied the emergency brake.
But Mr.
Was
Roy,
there a human failure or was there a mechanical, just a moment, was there a mechanical failure? Railway accidents have happened in the country in the past, but just to single out Mukul Roy for making him a scapegoat is meaningless.
But no, Mr. Roy, we have perhaps a meaning in the way we are in fact talking about this entire issue. We are not saying that railway accidents have not happened in the past, but the fact that he kept on saying, and you know, after repeated requests, he kept on saying that he will only go there if required, if the Prime Minister asks him to go. Many in the political circuit also feel that the TMC wants to hold on to this ministry. You are politicizing this entire issue.
But that's the other point.
No,
you
that's
see,
the other point.
You had DMK,
that what does a minister do after going to the...
Suhel Sethm, we'll come back to you in just a moment.
Minister,
yes, Mr. Roy.
Go ahead.
Hello, I was saying that the railway minister goes to the spot of accident, maybe he announces compensation to those kin of those dead and to those who are injured. But the main thing is to start the relief work as soon as possible, remove the injured people to the hospital, arrange for the cremation of the dead, and bring the relatives of the dead or injured to the site of the accident. I think we can discuss whether the railways were prompt enough in arranging the relief. Some say railway arrived 2 hours after the incident. It is to be discussed whether railways should have helicopters at the important junctions so that they can rush people to the scene of accident when
Mr.
it happens.
Saugata Roy, you seem to be moving away from
whether a minister should have been there or not.
Mr. Saugata Roy, you seem to be moving away from the issue, but Suhel Sethm had a point to make. Go ahead, Suhel.
See, I think there are two issues.
We are not moving away from the issue.
Issue one.
Why are you concentrating, targeting one person because he made a statement? He is a minister of state. And as governments work, a minister of state works on the instructions of the
Mr. Saugata Roy, Mr. Saugata Roy,
case, yes.
If you feel that he hasn't made a statement, and if you particularly feel that we are targeting him, then honestly our apologies to you, but the whole nation has heard what Mr. Mukul Roy has said. He very clearly, in no uncertain terms, made it very clear, and his reluctance also very clear. We'll come back to you, Mr. Suhel Sethm. Go ahead.
I think there are 2 or 3 issues. Issue one is the railways per se, without the political leadership, did respond with alacrity. Okay, Vivek Sahai was on a train, the member mechanical, member electrical or engineering, these guys were there. Okay, they did go there with equipment. Can it be better? Of course it can. Do we need to create a crisis management infrastructure? Of course we do. You know what happened on 26/11? We always wake up late and wait for the next disaster. As far as the political leadership is concerned, my point here to both you television anchors representing a large news channel is that the political leadership in this country does not wish to engage with empathy. They only engage with empathy when it is election time. They don't understand the art of communicating with an electorate. They don't understand visual symbols. They don't understand solidarity. Mukul Roy, it's beyond Mukul Roy's comprehension. So to blame him for something that he's incapable of is actually being harsher on him than on ourselves. He's not capable of understanding that people were seeing in him as a person who was responsible